Is the world getting worse, or is the world shedding? Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Kevlan, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the current state of the world and the current situation at the collective level. I see a lot of people and I see a lot of fear in the collective right now as to the future, so I wanted to take this moment to share my insight and perspective as to what is going on at the collective level and where are we headed. Before I do so, I wanted to talk about the true nature of time. I'm sure you're aware that everything in this universe is in constant movement or constant motion. Whether it's the tiniest particle at the quantum level, or planets, galaxies, or even universes, they're in constant motion or constant movement through space. This constant movement or constant motion create the experience of time as we know it. While we may view time as a linear constraint or a linear phenomenon where we're basically moving through time in a linear and straight line into one direction, I wanted to talk about the cyclical nature of time. Basically, our reality is organized in cycle within cycle within cycle. One example I can give you is at the human scale, for example, one of the very obvious and measurable cycle is a cycle of night and day. We know that every day we're going to experience daylight and nighttime, and the cycle will repeat itself the day after. Another example I can give you that is very measurable and very obvious at the human scale is the cycle of the season. We know that every year we're going to go through winter, spring, summer, and fall, and the cycle is going to repeat itself the year after. These are only two examples, but it exists an infinite number of cycles. Some are very, very short, so we can really measure them, and some are very, very long, much longer than the human life, so it's very hard to measure them as well. One of the cycles that is very relevant to what is actually going on the planet right now was known by ancient civilization in ancient texts by the name of the cycle of the yugas. So the cycle of the yugas is described to be associated with a great year or the precession of the equinox, which is measured by looking at the constellation in the night sky, and it takes approximately 24,000 years to go one full cycle. This cycle is composed of 4 different seasons or 4 different ages, and in each ages there is a different level of human consciousness. For example, when we look at the winter of human consciousness, known as the Kali Yuga or the Iron Age, this is the lowest level of human consciousness, where basically we're living in deep amnesia about our true nature, and society is driven by the survival energy centers such as separation, competition, war, and so on and so forth. I'm sure it's unfamiliar with what has been happening on the planet for a very long time. After this Kali Yuga, we enter in an ascending phase or an expansion phase of human consciousness for 12,000 years, all the way to the peak of human consciousness known as a golden age, where we basically fully activated and fully aligned with our divine nature before starting again a descending phase or a contraction phase of human consciousness, all the way back to what is known as winter or the Kali Yuga. This, when we look at the planet, or when we look at ancient sites and archaeological sites and advanced structures scattered all around the planet, we can see that in the distant past, ancient, more advanced and more conscious civilizations lived on the planet. When we look at, for example, certain archaeological sites in Turkey, for example, as old as 12,000 years, they were using advanced structures that we can even replicate today with our engineering skills and our engineering understanding. And these civilizations in the past have risen and fallen following this cycle following this 24,000 cycle. They have risen with the expansion of consciousness, and they have fallen when the consciousness was contracted to go back to what is known as a winter of consciousness. If you want to know more about this topic, I invite you to check out my book, The Science of Breaking Free. You can get it from Amazon, and I left the link down below in comment. Now that we have a better understanding of the cyclical nature of time, we can go back to the current situation at the collective level. What we have experienced for a very long time is a winter of consciousness, where basically we were fully disconnected to our true nature. We completely lived in deep amnesia, And as a result, the world was driven by the lower energy centers, leading to fear, separation, competition, war, you name it. And now we have entered this ascending phase, or this expansion phase of human consciousness. And as a result, everything that was hidden from the collective needs to be revealed and needs to be, poured by the light. I usually associate this process with the analogy of, just imagine you were living in a dark room all your life. So you were in this dark room and you just had no idea what was in the dark room with you. And all of a sudden, someone is turning on the light and increasing the intensity of the light little by little. At first, you will be able to see what was in direct contact or around you. And as the intensity of the light is increasing, you will be able to see the whole room, and you'll be able to see what was sitting in the room with you the whole time. It could be mess, it could be pile of dust, it could be garbage. So that's pretty much the process we've been experiencing at the collective level. That's a time of revelation, so everything that was hidden in the dark from the collective consciousness, needs to be seen, needs to be acknowledged so that it can be released, it can be transformed. That's the only way that we can release and we can move on to this expansion phase and create a new world. The world is not ending, the world is not getting worse, the world is shedding, and everything that was seen in the dark needs to be revealed so that it can be transformed, it can be acknowledged, it can be released and healed by the collective consciousness. Remember, it's a cosmic cycle. The best is yet to come. The world is only shedding and is going to continue to shed for quite some time, but nothing can stop this process. If you like this video, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel with the link down below. Push the button down below, like the video, share the video with your family and friends, and for now, I'll see you next time.